She was very compassionate, intelligent.
As she remembers the wonderful woman she was, Natasha Harrison is once again pleading to the public for information on what happened to her 20-year-old daughter, Tatiana. She says her remains were found on a yacht in Richmond on May 2nd. After she spent months desperately searching for her, police didn't confirm those remains were hers until August.
I was searching for my daughter's body. I'm screaming to people like something's happened, and it's getting dismissed.
And it's more of a nightmare than a dream.
She's among 5 other women speaking out about the cases of their lost loved ones, including Chelsea Poorman, a 24-year-old whose body laid in a Vancouver mansion for more than a year, yet her death wasn't considered suspicious. Noelle Ellie Osoup, a 14-year-old child whose decomposing remains went undetected by authorities for months after she vanished while in ministry care. And Ramona Wilson, a 16-year-old who was last seen in Smithers, northern BC in 1994. Her case remains unsolved.
We have been trying to find answers in what happened to her, who did this to her, who murdered her.
No one deserves to be treated as though their missing loved one was not important or didn't matter.
The stories are all unique, but their experiences with law enforcement are similar, and so is the demographic of each victim. All Indigenous women whose cases are fraught with what their relatives say is negligence, a lack of accountability, and discrimination.
Indigenous women represent over 40% of all homicides, despite only making up 5% of all women in the country.
The family is now hoping to help expose the pattern of mismanagement and lack of coordination between jurisdictions through their news conference with Amnesty International and the group Families of Sisters in Spirit, whose founder waited 20 years for an apology after her mother was struck and killed by a police cruiser while crossing the highway near her home.
The officer who struck my mother was investigated by a member of his family on the night of the accident and was cleared 3 months later.
In a statement, the BCRCMP called these cases part of an ongoing national tragedy, adding, "We're learning from our past mistakes that have left prolonged feelings of being dismissed."
Sadly, I hate to say it, but there's more to come if things don't change.
Neetu Garcha, Global News, Langley, BC.
Residential school survivors and their families looking for help can call the Residential School Survivors and Family Crisis Line. The number is 1-800-721-0066.